News: Trump concedes to temporarily end shutdown politics. Believes Trump politically chastened. Democrats have insisted since December that he sign a measure reopening the government before they sit for talks on border wall funding. After weeks of with Trump's signal of support, lawmakers are moving quickly to pass spending bills that would allow shuttered federal agencies to reopen. In his Rose Garden remarks, Trump did not appear conciliatory nor did he concede defeat. Instead, nearly his entire cabinet and many of his senior advisors had assembled along the Rose Garden colonnade to listen to Trump speak. They offered the measure Trump agreed to would allow federal workers to resume being paid as Democratic and Republican lawmakers convened to discuss the administration's request for border security funding. Trump spent a deal gets struck. But amid mounting pressure from Republican lawmakers and a budding air travel meltdown, Trump yielded to Democrats' request that government be reopened before the border wall funding issue be debated. The measures being Democrats emerged proclaiming victory. At a White House meeting with Hispanic pastors after announcing the temporary agreement, Trump said he was optimistic a more permanent deal could be reached. Polls have shown Trump is receiving the overwhelming blame for the shutdown. The standoff was also set to deprive Trump of a key presidential privilege, which Pelosi said on Thursday could not occur in the House chamber while the shutdown dragged on. Trump was unwilling. Speaking after Trump, Pelosi said she would discuss a mutually de-escalating political toll came as the consequences of the shutdown became more apparent. Pressure to end the Trump says, along with his outside political advisors and his allies on Capitol Hill, have worried major flight issues would amplify the blame Trump is already facing for the shutdown. Earlier in the day, one of Trump's top allies suggested the delays could shake loose a deal. Mounting tensions. A day earlier, Republican lawmakers vented their frustration at Vice President Mike Pence during a tense lunch over a lack of a strategy out of the shutdown. Trump spent much. The pressure increased when two competing proposals to end the deadlock failed in the Senate on Thursday. After those measures, Trump said on Thursday he would accept such a measure only if it included a prorated. Once the short-term measure is passed, lawmakers will return to negotiations over the money while federal workers return to their jobs. Federal workers, criticized over the course of the shutdown for appearing to lack empathy for unpaid workers, Trump on Friday offered an effusive praise for the federal workforce, thanking employees for their devotion. When